Video we're going to study about the predictive parser. What is predictive parser and how to construct the predictive parser table? Predictive parser is also called as recursive descent parsers needing no backtracking. So this can be constructed for a class of grammars called LL1. So let us summarize the concept now. So what is top-down parser? The top-down parser is called as recursive descent parser. And in recursive descent parser, actually having two methods, recursive descent parser with backtracking and recursive descent parser without backtracking. So here in the right side, so non-backtracking method, right? Recursive descent with non-backtracking method is called as predictive parser, right? So what is predictive parser? It is also called as recursive descent with non-backtracking. So now what is LL parser? So predictive parser, so having called the classification called LL1. So what is LL1 parser? So grammar for which we can create predictive parser are called LL1 parser. The first L means scanning input from left to right. The second L means leftmost derivation. And 1 stands for using one input symbol for look ahead. Now let us study how to construct a predictive parsing table. So we have algorithm for this. So algorithm, the input for, the construction of predictive parsing table algorithm requires grammar G. And what is the output here? Parsing table M. It also needs some prerequisite like first and follow that we already studied how to compute first and follow for the grammar. So according to this algorithm, the first step, so there are only two steps. Okay, try to understand there are only two steps. So what is the first step in algorithm? Suppose, so this is what the generalized concept. Let us consider in a grammar, we have a production. So that is like red color, that is A derives alpha. Let us assume, so this is the grammar. So what is the production in the grammar? A derives alpha. Okay, how to construct a parsing table for this case? So according to the step 1, for each terminal A in first of alpha, try to understand A derives alpha, right? So you just consider the first of alpha, the first of right hand side, first of alpha. For each terminal A in first of alpha, then what we have to do? We have to add the production A derives alpha in the table, okay, that is M of A comma small a. Second, if epsilon is in first of alpha, then for each terminal B in follow A, add A derives epsilon to M of A comma B. And the second rule says that if epsilon is in first of alpha and dollar is in follow of A, then add A derives epsilon to M of A comma dollar as well. Listen student, so what we have to do is first we have to construct a table. Listen carefully. First what we have to do, we have to construct a table. As we know that the table contains rows and columns, right? So here the table name is capital M. Okay, what is the name of table? Capital M. And what are the column entries here? So column entries are nothing but the set of all terminals. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to add all the terminals including epsilon as well as dollar. Okay, the column entries are terminals, okay, epsilon and dollar. And what is the row entries? Row entries is nothing but the non-terminals. Okay, row entries are non-terminals. Hence, according to the rule first, so what we have to do for each terminal A, if it is in first of alpha, where we have to add A derives alpha in the entry. So row is A and column is A, small a. Okay, row is capital A and column is small a. So in that entry, we have to add A derives alpha. And according to the second rule, if epsilon is in first of alpha, if first of alpha contain epsilon, may be possible, right? At that time, what we have to do? Then for each terminal in follow of A, whatever the set of follow of A, okay. So what we have to do? We have to add A derives epsilon to M of capital A comma B. What is row here? Capital A. What is the column here? Small b. So one more condition we have. If epsilon, the same condition, if epsilon is in first of alpha and also if dollar is in fall of A, then what we have to do? We have to add A derives epsilon to M of A comma dollar entry. If after performing the above, there is no production, I mean, after constructing this table, let us assume some of the entries are vacant. It is not yet filled. So such entries are considered as error case. Construct the parsing table for this example. So how to construct a parsing table? Okay, so we know that we have to construct a table first. What is the name of the table? Capital M. And we have to fix the column entries as well as row entry. What is the row entry? Only the non-terminals. What is the column entry? Only terminals. Okay. In the previous slide, I explained column entry includes epsilon. So that is mistake actually. So the column entry contains only the terminal including dollar. It doesn't have any epsilon entry. Clear? Now, so we have non-terminals, right? For this grammar, the non-terminals are E, E dash, T, T dash, F. And what is the terminal? ID plus star, open bracket, close bracket. And one more thing, we have to add dollar. You just assume we already computed first and follow for each non-terminal. Now, look at the first production. What is the first production? E derives TE dash. Okay, just assume the production, sorry, just take the production number 1, that is E derives TE dash. In which entry of the table contain E derives TE dash? Where we have to add this production? Whether we have to add in ID or in plus or in star or in open bracket or in close bracket or in dollar, where we have to add? That is the question, right? Therefore, what we have to do? So we have to check the right hand side of the production. What is the right hand side of the production? It is TE dash. Which is the first symbol? T. What we have to do? We have to find out the first of T. What is first of T? Open bracket, comma, ID. Okay, so don't add E derives TE dash in all the entry, but where we have to add? Only in the first of T. Therefore, I'll add that. Okay, E derives TE dash and E derives TE dash. Fine. Whether the rule step 2 is applicable here? No, because the first of T doesn't include epsilon. But look at the second production, that is E dash derives plus T dash bar epsilon. So here we have two alternatives, right? The right hand side contain two alternatives. What is the first alternative? Plus T dash. So what is the first symbol here? Plus. What is the first of plus? It is plus itself. Therefore, where we have to add the first alternative? In the column entry plus. Therefore, in the column entry, E dash plus E dash derives plus T dash can be added. And now look at that. Algorithm step 2 is applicable here because the second alternative contain epsilon. So right hand side, I mean the first of right hand side include epsilon also. Therefore what we have to do? We have to go for follow of E dash. The question is where we have to add the second alternative. E dash derives epsilon. Okay, so where we have to add in all the entry? No. So we have to add only E dash derives epsilon in the follow of E dash. What is follow of E dash? Comma, sorry, closing bracket, comma, dollar, right? So let us place E dash derives epsilon in the closing bracket as well as in the dollar. And the first step, E dash derives plus T dash only in the plus entry because the first of right hand side is only plus. So it includes epsilon also, hence where we have to place that epsilon entry in the follow of left hand side. Follow of left hand side means follow of E dash. Now let us consider T derives Ft dash, where we have to place the first of F. What is first of F? Open bracket comma ID. Okay, right. What about T dash? Okay, the first of right hand side includes star as well as epsilon. So the first alternative can be placed in the star column entry. And the second alternative, that is T dash derives epsilon, where we have to add T dash derives includes the fall of T dash is plus closing bracket dollar. So the three column entry. Okay, so plus closing bracket dollar. There we have to place T dash derives epsilon. Clear? Okay, so T dash derives star Ft dash will be placed in the column entry star, and T dash derives epsilon can be placed in the three column entry, that is follow of left hand side. What is the left hand side symbol? T dash. Okay, so T dash, the follow of T dash is plus comma closing bracket comma dollar. Similarly for F. So what is F? The first of F is open bracket and ID. Okay. Therefore, what is the first alternative here? F derives bracketized E. What is the first of right hand side? Only bracket, open bracket. Therefore, where we have to place F derives bracketized ID in the column entry open, and F derives ID where? So only in the column entry ID. Okay. Let us consider another example. So this is the another example. Okay, the grammar is okay. S derives if else then statement. Okay, so this is what the grammar, and assume that we computed first as well as follow. Now let us construct the table M. So what is the input symbol in the column? A, B, E, I, T and dollar. And what is the non-terminal? S, S dash and E. Let us take the first production, that is S derives I, E, T, S, S dash bar A. The first production contains two alternative. So in the right hand side, okay, right hand side, what is the first of right hand side? It is nothing but I comma A. So the first alternative, that is S derives small I, capital E, small t, S, S dash, where we have to place in the first symbol. Which is the first symbol here? Small I. Therefore, this can be placed, okay, the first of right hand side. What is the first of right hand side is I. Hence, fine. So next S derives A, where? What is first of A? A itself. Therefore, we'll place, okay, S derives A. And about the second one, what is the first production rule? S dash derives E, capital S bar epsilon. Hence, the first of right hand side is small e and epsilon. Where we have to place the first alternative, that is S dash derives ES in small e, because the first of this right hand side is small e. And what about epsilon? S dash derives epsilon. Where we have to place? We have to find the follow of S dash. What is follow of S dash? It is dollar comma E. Okay. In the dollar, in the column entry dollar and E, what we have to place? S dash derives epsilon. Fine. Now what about E derives B? The production rule E derives B, that can be placed in E derives B in the place column entry B. The question is, we have to construct a parsing table for the given grammar. Listen carefully. What we have to do, we have to construct a parsing table for the given grammar. So the grammar is given and we constructed a parsing table. The main question is whether the grammar is LL1. This we have to check. This grammar is not LL1. Why? Because we are not, it is unable to construct the passing table. See, we constructed the passing table, then why it is not LL1? See, that is not the case. See, we constructed a passing table, but look at the second row. What is the second row of this table? S dash. And look at the column entry E. S dash comma E. Okay, so how many entries we have? Two entry, right? In the same place we have two entry, that is S dash derives ES, S dash derives epsilon. This is confusion. Okay, so to avoid the backtracking, we are going for the concept called parsing table. Okay, so now in the same entry, how many production rule we have? Two production rule. If the table entry contain two production rule, then we can conclude that the grammar, the given grammar is not LL1. Okay, and whatever the remaining entries, so that is not written here, the remaining entries, the vacant remaining entries are filled with error. Okay,